Good evening and welcome to Spring Global on Western Spring Television. Now the headlines. FG to launch birth, death, marriage registration portal. Grenade birthday gift kills Ukraine army chief's aide. Hamas leader refuses to acknowledge killing of civilians in Israel. My name is EVELYN OHIOLEI. President Bola Tinubu will on Wednesday launch a birth, death, and marriage registration portal. The registration system includes all civil registrations such as birth registration, stillbirth registration, birth attestation, adoption, marriage notification, divorce notification, migration, and death. Chairman of the National Population Commission (NPC) Nasir Kwara made this known at a pre-launch briefing on Monday. The chairman stated that the commission, in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Fund (UNICEF), developed the digital portal tagged ECRVS and its operational readiness assessment report, which showed the potential of digital technologies in providing transformative outcomes in integrating data from multiple systems to securely store data in a cost-effective way in Nigeria. The NPC chairman noted that the system provides a digital certificate in all cases, an accessible verification platform to registered organizations, and a central management system that depicts and analyzes collated civil registrations into vital statistics for proper decision-making. Outside Nigeria, a grenade given as a birthday present has blown up and killed a close aide of the head of Ukraine's armed forces, Valery Zaluzhny. The 39-year-old aide, Major Hannady Chasyakov, had returned to his flat with presents from his colleagues and was opening them with his son when the grenade exploded. Major Chasyakov was killed and his 13-year-old son was left seriously wounded. Interior Minister Igor Klemenko said the boy had started turning the ring on the grenade. The blast has been described as a tragic accident, and the minister appeals to the public to await the outcome of an official investigation. Police said the explosion in the family flat at Chaiki in the western outskirts of Kyiv had been as a result of careless handling of ammunition, but it soon emerged that another 5 grenades had been found in the flat. Mr. Klemenko said that they had been a gift from a colleague in the army. 2 similar grenades were later found in a search of the colleague, described as a colonel in the army. A senior Hamas leader, Musa Abu Mazouk, has refused to acknowledge that his group killed civilians in Israel, claiming only conscripts were targeted. The group's deputy political leader, Mr. Mazouk, who is subject to an asset freeze in the UK under counter-terrorism regulations, was interviewed on Saturday in the Gulf. He is the most senior member to speak to the BBC since October 7th attack. Mazouk told the BBC that women, children and civilians were exempted from Hamas's attacks. However, his claims are in stark contrast to the wealth of evidence of Hamas men shooting unarmed adults and children. The proof includes video from Hamas body cameras and first-hand testimony given to international news networks. Israel says more than 1,400 people were killed by Hamas in the 7th of October attacks, most of them civilians. Speaking on the scores of hostages being held inside Gaza, Mr. Mazouk stated that Hamas is unable to free them while Israel was bombing Gaza. The Hamas-run health ministry says 10,000 people have been killed since Israel started operations last month. South Africa says it will recall all of its diplomats from Tel Aviv following Israel's intense airstrikes on Gaza on Sunday night. The bombardment was one of Israel's heaviest since the war began a month ago. South Africa's government, which has long been a vocal supporter of the Palestinian cause, staunchly condemned Israel on Monday. The government indicated that it might call for the removal of Israeli ambassador Eliev Belotserkovsky, accusing him of making disparaging comments about South Africa. The statement described the Israeli ambassador's presence in South Africa as untenable, adding that it would pursue diplomatic channels to deal with its conduct in the country. Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor said the government believes the nature of response by Israel has become one of collective punishment. Israel says it is trying to minimize civilian casualties and accuses Hamas of using non-combatants as human shields. Hundreds of South Africans have protested against Israeli attacks on Gaza in recent weeks. It will be recalled that earlier this year, the South African embassy in Israel was downgraded to a liaison office. Israel troops on Monday arrested a Palestinian activist, Ahmed Tamimi, on suspicion of inciting violence, but her mother denied the claim and said it was based on a fake Instagram post. Her mother, Nariman Tamimi, said more than a dozen Israeli soldiers entered their house overnight and arrested her daughter. The Israeli military said it apprehended 22-year-old Tamimi, regarded in the occupied West Bank as a hero since she was a teenager in the West Bank village of Nabi Saleh. The military said Tamimi is suspected of inciting violence and calling for terrorist activity to be carried out. Tamimi rose to prominence in 2017 when, at age 16, she slapped an Israeli soldier who raided her village. She and others have for years protested Israeli land seizures. Israeli authorities alleged the young woman wrote an inciting Instagram post calling for the killing of settlers and saying what Hitler did wasn't enough. Her mother, however, said in an interview that Ahmed does not have an Instagram account. People have been pulled from the rubble after explosions in the southern Gazan cities of Khan Yunis and Rafah. This is coming after Israel warned people for weeks to leave the north of the Gaza Strip and head to the south. Temitope Ajijolo has the details.
Dozens of deaths have been reported after blasts in the southern Gaza Strip. At least 23 people were killed in two separate Israeli airstrikes in Rafah and Khan Yunis, the Hamas-run health ministry said. Israel says its forces have surrounded Gaza City, home to a third of the enclave's 2.3 million people, and are poised to storm it soon in their campaign to annihilate the Hamas Islamists who attacked Israeli towns exactly a month ago. Israel gave civilians still trapped inside freshly encircled Gaza City a 4-hour window to leave on Tuesday, and residents escaping said they passed tanks in position to possibly begin storming it. A Palestinian journalist has been killed alongside 42 of his family members by an Israeli airstrike in Gaza City, his news agency, Wafa, reported. People across Israel are marking 1 month since Hamas's 7 October attacks that killed 1,400 and saw over 200 taken hostage. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says more than 10,000 people have been killed in Israel's retaliatory attacks. The IDF said it took control of a Hamas stronghold in the northern Gaza Strip overnight. Around 600 foreign nationals are on the daily list to leave Gaza to Egypt via the